Welcome back to the world decoded. Picture this: warships clashing in disputed waters, islands built from nothing, and trillions in trade hanging by a thread. In 2025, the South China Sea is a powder keg, with China, the US, and neighbors on the brink of conflict. Riskline reports 15 naval incidents this year, but is this just rivalry, or hidden agendas at play? Today, we'll unpack the tensions, dive into conspiracies, and expose China's deep motives. From secret pacts to resource grabs, you won't believe what's bubbling beneath the surface. Stick around, this could spark the next global crisis. Let's kick off with a startling fact: 15 naval incidents in 2025 alone. But what's fueling these confrontations, and who's really at fault? Let's dive in. Key point 1. Escalating naval incidents. Riskline and Crisis Group data highlight 15 major naval incidents in 2025, including a June 17 collision between Chinese and Philippine vessels near 2nd Thomas Shoal. The Philippine Navy reported 49 Chinese vessels in disputed areas in June, the highest monthly total this year. Tensions peaked between China and the Philippines since February 2023, with China's Coast Guard using water cannons and blocking resupply missions. The US has conducted freedom of navigation operations (FONOPs) to challenge China's claims, leading to close encounters with Chinese warships. Ex-posts buzz about these as deliberate provocations, but the real flashpoint? China's 9-dash line, claiming 90% of the sea, rejected by a 2016 international tribunal. Is this posturing for dominance, or the start of something bigger? Behind the clashes lies China's grand strategy. What's Beijing really after in these waters? The answer might involve oil, power, and a challenge to the US. Hold on tight. Key point 2. China's expansion motives and military buildup. China's motives run deep, securing vast resources like 11 billion barrels of oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, per USGS estimates. Beijing's island-building campaign has created over 3,200 acres of artificial land since 2013, turning reefs into military outposts with airstrips and missiles. In 2025, China expanded patrols around Scarborough Shoal, intercepting Philippine ships and escalating gray zone tactics. Coercion short of war. Ex-analysts argue this is part of Xi Jinping's China dream to dominate the Indo-Pacific, countering US influence and securing fishing grounds that feed millions. But critics on X see it as neo-imperialism, violating UNCLOS and bullying neighbors like Vietnam and Indonesia. With China's navy now the world's largest, is this resource security or a bid for regional hegemony? The US isn't sitting idle. FONOPs and alliances are ramping up, but whispers of secret deals between Washington and Beijing. This conspiracy could change everything. Let's unpack it. Key point 3. US-China secret deals and conspiracies. Ex-posts fuel theories of US-China secret pacts, suggesting backroom deals over trade routes to avoid full conflict while dividing influence. Some claim the US tolerates China's buildup in exchange for economic concessions, citing Trump's 2025 tariffs as leverage. Carnegie reports urge US restraint to reduce risks, but ex-users point to historical gentlemen's agreements like past hotline talks. Is the US containing China through alliances like the Quad US, Japan, India, Australia, or colluding to control $5.3 trillion in annual trade through the sea? 45% of global crude oil and 42% of propane. WHO projects 3.3% trade growth in 2025, but disruptions could spike prices worldwide. These conspiracies question if superpowers are playing a dangerous game, using the sea as a bargaining chip. With $5 trillion in trade at stake, how vulnerable is the global economy? And what role do ASEAN nations play in this mess? You won't believe the economic fallout. Stay tuned. Key point 4. Trade risks and ASEAN dynamics. The South China Sea handles $5.3 trillion in trade yearly, per 2025 estimates, making it a choke point for energy and goods. A single blockade could disrupt 26% of global automotive trade, per Atlas Institute. ASEAN claimants like the Philippines and Vietnam face China's coercion, with Manila's 2025 patrols clashing repeatedly. The long-stalled code of conduct, Coke talks drag on, with ICEA surveys showing 12.9% of Southeast Asians wanting external powers involved. China's economic coercion, banning Philippine bananas or Vietnamese fish, pressures smaller nations, but resistance grows. The Philippines invoked its US Mutual Defense Treaty, risking escalation. Is China's strategy dividing ASEAN to conquer, or can unity avert disaster? Diplomacy promises peace, but talks are stalling. Could secret agendas be sabotaging efforts? The next revelation might expose the real players. Don't miss it. Key point 5. Diplomatic efforts and failures. UN and ASEAN push for dialogue, but 2025 saw little progress. China rejects third-party mediation, insisting on bilateral talks to leverage its power. The diplomat notes coercion at sea continues despite Coke drafts. US proposals for crisis hotlines, per Carnegie, aim to prevent miscalculations, but China views them as intrusions. Conspiracies suggest US stokes tensions to justify military presence, like expanded bases in the Philippines. With Trump's second term adding uncertainty, SCSPI predicts heated but contained friction. Solutions like joint resource development exist, but mistrust prevails. Is diplomacy a facade, hiding China's long game for control? What if one incident sparks all out war? The future of the South China Sea could reshape the world. Let's forecast the risks. Key point 6. Future risks and potential solutions. By 2030, unchecked tensions could lead to conflict, per GIS reports. With China's Southwest Pacific expansion encroaching on US allies, risks include accidental clashes, cyber attacks on shipping, or blockades spiking global inflation. X fears a new Cold War proxy battle. Solutions: enforceable COC, demilitarized zones, or US-China crisis mechanisms. Empowering ASEAN through economic aid could counter China's influence ops. But with China's gray zone tactics succeeding, per War on the Rocks, the sea remains volatile. Can cooler heads prevail, or is 2025 the tipping point? World Decoders. The South China Sea is 2025's ultimate flashpoint. 15 incidents, China's resource-driven expansion, and conspiracies of secret pacts threaten trillions in trade and global peace. Is this China's bid for dominance, or a shared superpower scheme? The data points to escalating risks, but solutions exist if nations choose dialogue over coercion. What do you think? War on the horizon, or managed rivalry? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this video to spread awareness, and subscribe for more decoded truths. The sea's secrets are unfolding. Let's keep watching together.